first I'll ask, you agree with me, and I think most of America, that say there is no question about the constitutional right to have a mosque. I would say they have it.
We have a freedom of religion in this country, and that allows us to build houses of worship.
Mm-hmm. So we agree on that.
We agree on that.
And I think everyone in America agrees on that. Mm-hmm. The question is, should they do it? Not can they, because they can. Should they do it?
One of the things we all need to realize is because we have the right to do something, it doesn't make it right to do. Mm-hmm. We've heard from some of the leaders who wanted to build this particular structure that they wanted to bring a better understanding. Mm-hmm. But understanding is a two-way street. And the people who were deeply hurt by this attack, the families of the victims, in particular, we need to understand them. We need to understand that they have sensitivities about this, and that we shouldn't push a mosque onto them. They see this ground as hallowed ground. You and I might have the right to stand across the street from a synagogue and sing Deutschland über alles. It's not the right thing to do.
No.
And that's, it's that sort of thing. There is
a decency to it.
Yeah, it's an understanding of the sensitivities of those involved. And what really bothers me is Governor Patterson and others have tried to reach out to the imam and they won't even have discussions with him on the matter of finding another location. That means there's an agenda here. This is not just, I want to build a center, a place of worship, there's an agenda behind it. And so I worry deeply about that.
Would you also, that the questions being raised about where the funding of the mosque, there are some questions as to whether it may be involved with pro-terrorist organizations and states, and there are those who have said that question should not be asked, it's not appropriate. Do you agree that it is appropriate? Well, how do you feel about it? Should there be a question asked about where the funding?
I think we always should be aware of where pro-terrorist organizations are spending their money. If they were investing in my business, I think folks would want to know.
Yes.
So yes, I think that's always appropriate to find out where pro-terrorist groups are spending their funds. Yeah.
Okay. And I can agree with those completely. I have very similar views. Very similar views. I agree with you a lot. Asking in reference to the cigarette tax and the Indian reservations. I've made a very clear case, I believe, that I believe it's an invasion of Fourth Amendment rights.
Okay.
I've stated that I think it's ridiculous because it drives business out. To clarify for those who haven't read the article, Governor Patterson has said that he wants to go on to the Indian reservations, which is sovereign land, and charge them the $4.35 tax on cigarettes that is imposed in New York State. To do this, he also stated, and this is the very critical part, anyone leaving the Indian lands with cigarettes will have the taxes enforced. I take from that means that they're going to search cars as they leave without a warrant.
Seizure. Yeah. Okay.
And I see it as an illegal search and seizure. Mayor Bloomberg has also made the offensive statement. He made it.
Yeah, I know.
That Governor Patterson should go with the shotgun like a cowboy and take the tax money. How do you feel on this?
Well, I'm going to take a step back.
Yes.
I think the cigarette tax was a ridiculous idea to start with. If the object is to raise revenue, it does not accomplish that, because people who are buying cigarettes will find other outlets to obtain them.
15 minutes into Pennsylvania from here.
Right. Or the internet, or the
New Jersey, or Connecticut, or friends,
or the Native Americans. I mean, that's just one of those outlets. So we understand that that's the first step. It was a silly attempt to raise revenue, because as they've raised the tax to the point where more people are avoiding it, and so revenue goes down instead of coming up. As they try now to plug those holes, what would stop them from stopping you on the border when you come back from Pennsylvania to check your trunk to see if you have cigarettes in them?
That's an interesting application.
Yeah. What would stop them when your UPS guy delivers, the boxes from Kentucky, from looking in those and seeing if they're cigarettes? And it's the same sort of scenario. The Native Americans have a treaty with us.
Yes.
And we need to adhere to the treaty that we have with the Native Americans. And if the treaty allows them to avoid these taxes, then we should honor the treaty. I mean, that's fairly simple. It's a pet peeve of mine.
It's definitely a pet peeve of mine.
I don't smoke.
I do.
But I'm a small business owner, and I can feel for the guy who's down the street who owns a convenience store. Now, a significant portion of his income came from selling cigarettes. But not only that, but when a smoker would come into his store and buy the cigarettes, he'd also pick up his chips, his soft drinks, buy a lottery ticket, fill up his tank with gas.
Miscellaneous sales coming out of that.
Yeah, he'd make far more money on those other things than he would on the cigarette sale. We drive that business away from his store by raising the taxes on the cigarettes. You're down in Pennsylvania, you're going to fill up your tank there, and gas is cheaper there.
True.
Grab your chips, your soda, whatever you're getting at the same place, and have it all done. Why come back and stop at a place here? It's a jobs killer, in other words.
Right.
Because it puts convenience stores and cigarette sellers in the state of New York in a negative position. What are they going to do? They have two choices. They can raise prices on things other things in their store.
To make up the difference.
Who pays that? You and I. Or they end up cutting their staff, because they're not selling as much as they used to, and that creates more unemployment.
I said before, a fixed pie with larger pieces going out to the government than to you and I. I agree, and I've come at it from the point of view of the smoker, but you make a very good argument. On the other side that I haven't addressed, I think it's a very intelligent argument.
The smoker has choices. We all have choices. Smoker has choices. Smoker can continue to buy cigarettes in the state of New York and pay, money that he doesn't have for the privilege. He can go somewhere else and get his cigarettes, or he can quit. Now, what they're going to tell you when they look at the statistics is that you all quit.
Yeah, 20 years down the line.
Yeah.
That's what they've said.
Yeah. But that's not what really happens. You're taking the second option and finding the cigarettes somewhere else. That's just the way it is. It's common sense.